Welcome to TonightTales Audio, where quiet moments become unforgettable stories. Sit back, relax, and let tonight's tale begin. The mission. There were places in space that everyone knew about. Places marked on maps long ago, places no one visited anymore. The asteroid was one of those places. Everyone knew where it was. Navigation systems still marked it clearly. Old trade routes sometimes passed nearby. Patrol ships flew past. But no one stopped there. Not anymore. There had been attempts, small expeditions, researchers, curious crews. They had approached the entrance, docked, opened the airlock, and then turned back. The reports were always the same. Equipment stopping without explanation. Sensors losing signal, communications dissolving into static, and something else. Something harder to describe. Sounds, whispers, blinking lights, as if someone was speaking a language that no longer existed. Shadows in the corner of your vision. Movements disappearing the moment you tried to focus. A feeling that you were not alone. No one had ever gone beyond the entrance. Not for 1,000 years. Now the order had come. Short, clear, undeniable. Patrol Vessel Ardent, you are assigned to conduct an internal investigation of the research station on Asteroid K-47. A pause, then, confirm the station status. Document any active systems. Report back. Sarah sat silently for a moment. She looked at the coordinates slowly rotating across the screen. Everyone knew what the place was. Everyone knew the stories about it. And still, the order remained, unchanged. "We're going in," Sarah said at last. Arrival. Space was quiet. Not empty, not cold, just still. The asteroid first appeared as a shadow against the stars, a dark shape slowly growing larger in the window. No blinking signals, no movement, no activity. It simply existed there. "Visual contact," the pilot said quietly. Sarah did not answer immediately. She remained still, studying the image on the main screen. The asteroid rotated slowly. Its surface was scarred by time. Craters, fractures, ancient impacts. And there, an opening in the rock. Not natural, not random, straight, perfect, constructed. The ship moved closer, the engines worked quietly, controlled. The distance decreased. 1,000 meters, 500, 200. The instrument panel flickered briefly. A short flash, then stable again. No one spoke. Sarah leaned slightly forward in her chair, her eyes fixed on the opening. "Sensor status," she said. A pause. Too long. "Minor interference," Felix replied at last. "Telemetry keeps jumping." Silence. The asteroid now filled the entire window. It looked older up close, not just ancient, worn, as if time itself had tried to erase it. And yet it remained, unchanged, waiting. The lights on the bridge blinked once, briefly, almost unnoticed. Felix frowned. "There it is again," he said. Sarah said nothing. She only continued staring at the opening. And in that exact moment, a faint sound emerged through the communication system. Not static, not a signal, something else. A sound that almost resembled a whisper. The ship continued forward, slowly, inevitably. Docking. The docking corridor stretched out before them. Dark, still, untouched. The opening in the asteroid was larger now, not threatening, not welcoming, only waiting. The ship moved slowly inside. The engines worked quietly, controlled, precise. Lights along the tunnel walls activated, one after another, as if something had reacted to their presence. No one spoke. Sarah remained still in her chair, her eyes fixed on the screen. "Distance?" 15 meters, the pilot replied. The instrument panel flickered again, briefly, almost impossible to notice. Felix leaned forward over his console, studying the numbers. "The sensors are losing precision," he said. Sarah turned slightly toward him. "How bad?" Felix moved his fingers across the panel. Data refreshed, disappeared, returned again. "Nothing dangerous," he said. "But something is interfering with the systems." Silence. The ship continued forward, slowly, inevitably. At last it stopped, softly, almost soundlessly. Docking complete. No one spoke, only stillness. Sarah stood up, slowly. Status? Felix looked down at his instruments. All systems stable, he said. But the interference is still there. He raised his eyes. Something is transmitting from inside the station. Silence. Sarah gave a slight nod. Then we go in. Entry. The airlock opened. Slowly, with a soft, muted sound. The air that met them was cool, not cold, not stale, just old. Sarah took the first step. Felix followed behind her. The corridor lights activated, one after another, as if the station itself was waking up. The instruments on Felix's wrist flickered. Then again. He stopped, looked down at the screen. There it is, he said. Sarah looked at him. What's happening? Felix studied the readings. Strong electromagnetic activity, he said. Something is transmitting radio waves. They moved a few meters deeper into the corridor, and there it was. The machine. Not large, not threatening, but clearly built for a purpose. Antenna-like arms stretched outward toward the walls, carefully positioned. The lights above them flickered briefly. Felix checked his screen again. It's sending continuous pulses, he said. That's what's disrupting the systems. Sarah stared at the machine for a long moment. It kept people away, she said quietly. Felix nodded. Yeah, Sarah stepped closer. Shut it down. Felix hesitated for a moment, not from fear, from respect. Then he nodded. He pressed the panel. The light stabilized. The instrument stopped flickering. And the machine went silent. Stillness. Sarah took a calm breath. Then we begin. The first room. The corridor continued straight ahead, long, narrow, unchanged. The lights activated in front of them, one after another, as if the station was following their steps. The air was still, not heavy, not dusty, just untouched. Sarah slowed down. She raised her hand. Wait! Everyone stopped. A door stood to the left, unlocked. Sarah stepped closer. She pressed gently against the panel. The door slid open halfway. Slowly, quietly. The room inside was small. An office. A single chair stood beside a desk. Papers still rested neatly across the surface, as if someone had simply stepped away. Sarah stopped in front of the chair. At first glance, there was nothing special about it. Metal, worn edges, marks where hands had rested for years. She carefully placed her hand against the armrest. Someone sat here for a very long time, she said softly. Sarah remained by the doorway, studying the room, the order, the silence. No chaos, no signs of panic. Only work. Felix stood still for a moment, then slowly approached the desk. The computer remained there, powered down, its screen completely black. He brushed his fingers across the surface. A thin layer of dust came loose. Several folders rested beside the monitor, carefully stacked, not scattered, as if someone had forgotten them there. Felix picked up the top folder, opened it. The pages were filled with notes, diagrams, measurements, timestamps. He turned the pages slowly, one at a time. What do they say? Sarah asked. Felix continued reading. His eyes moved across the numbers, across the words. He took a slow breath. Progress, he said. Sarah frowned slightly. Subject response stable. Cognitive transfer successful. No degradation detected. Silence settled heavily over the room. Sarah remained still, her eyes fixed on the page in front of him. Felix turned another page. The next document was older, the paper darker, the edges slightly worn. He read quietly, then stopped. Wait, he said. Sarah looked at him. Subject response unstable. Memory fragmentation detected. Identity coherence failing. The room suddenly felt colder, not in temperature, in feeling. Felix turned another page. Emergency termination initiated. He stopped, read the line again, then the next. Subject unable to return. Silence. No drama, no panic, only facts. Felix picked up the next report, even older, handwritten. The ink faded. as if the writer's hand had trembled. He read aloud. Subject retains partial awareness. A pause. Reports continuous presence. What does that mean? Sarah asked. Felix did not answer immediately. He kept reading. Subject unable to disconnect. The words fell heavily into the room. Sarah looked back toward the chair, toward the armrests, toward the place where someone had once sat. Suddenly, the room felt smaller, uncomfortable. Felix slowly closed the folder. It took them a long time to succeed, he said quietly. Sarah gave a slight nod. And some of them never came back. Silence. But now they understood. The success written in the final reports had come with a price. The next room. They left the office behind. The door slid shut with a soft sound. The corridor remained silent ahead of them. Sarah walked first. Felix close behind. The next door stood only a few meters away. A simple panel beside it. No name, no markings. Sarah pressed the control. The door opened. The second room. The room was larger than the first one. Cleaner, more technical. Workstations lined the walls. Screens, tools, blueprints. Everything carefully organized. Felix stepped toward the nearest table. Several thin sheets rested across its surface. Not notes, not logs, designs. He picked one up, studied the image, a human body. Not drawn like a medical diagram, not like a machine, something in between. Joint connections highlighted, muscle structures replaced with mechanics. Sensors where nerves should have been. Felix swallowed quietly. They were building a body, he said softly. Sarah stepped closer, looked down at the design. For who? Felix turned the page. More sketches, details. A hand, an eye, a rib cage. Not experiments, plans. Not for a person, he said. A pause. For a mind. Silence. Sarah slowly looked around the room. At the tools, at the blueprints, at the years of work poured into them, as if someone had tried to give something a body. She took a calm breath. Then it has to be here somewhere, she said. Felix met her eyes, then nodded. They continued forward. The third room. The final door in the corridor was heavier, thicker metal. Sarah pressed the panel. The door opened slowly. The room beyond was colder, quieter. A body stood in the center of the room. Not human, not machine. A construction. Its arms rested motionless at its sides. The chest cavity remained open. Cables stretched where a heart should have been. A head rested separately on a support frame. Its eyes closed. Felix stopped immediately. It's not finished, he whispered. Sarah walked closer. Slowly, carefully. She studied the hands, the joints, the shape of the face. It was not frightening, only waiting, like something that had never been allowed to wake up. Sarah remained silent for a moment. They never finished it, she said quietly. Felix looked at the body again, at the machine, at the abandoned work. Or maybe they didn't need to, he answered. Silence. Neither of them spoke again. Now they knew. One final room remained, and inside it was the answer. The fourth room. They remained outside the door for a moment. Neither of them spoke. It was larger than the others, heavier, the metal thicker. Sarah placed her hand against the panel, pressed it. The door slid open slowly. The room beyond was completely dark, silent. The air was cool, motionless. Sarah stepped inside first. Felix followed close behind. The lights did not activate. Felix removed a small flashlight from his belt. The beam swept across the room. Walls, consoles, cables. A central terminal stood at the far end. Its screen remained black. No light, no activity. The system is inactive, Felix said quietly. Sarah walked forward. Slow steps. Careful. Several data modules rested on the table beside the terminal, and a single folder. Sarah opened it. A summary of the research, she read silently. Once, then again. Felix leaned closer. Connection attempt failed. A pause. Subject unconscious. Felix swallowed. Sarah continued reading. Unable to integrate with physical host. Silence. The room suddenly felt smaller, sadder. Sarah turned the page, the final sheet. Only a single line remained. Project terminated. Felix slowly looked up. They shut everything down, he said. Sarah carefully closed the folder, placed it back exactly where it had been. Several quiet seconds passed. Neither of them moved. Then Sarah took a calm breath. We document everything, she said. Felix nodded. He activated his communication device. A short signal, then a stable connection to patrol vessel Ardent. We have confirmed the station's status. The project has been terminated. The research shows success, but with severe consequences. Parts of the myths are true. Forward everything to the Intergalactic Council, he said. His voice remained calm, professional. Thank you for spending your time with TonightTales Audio. If this story made you smile, think, dream, or simply helped you relax, let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you'd like more stories like this. Every comment, every like, and every listener means more than you know. Until our paths cross again in another story, thank you for listening.